It's time for the second of Ericsson's 5G talks. This time we're exploring the enormous opportunity 5G presents with network slicing technology and how it could allow telcos to work with their customers to truly transform the way they work. We now live in a world where 5G is a reality, and it's the connectivity our customers and partners are coming to expect. We want lightning fast downloads, we want responsive apps and a reliable network that helps us to get work done. But we're only just starting to see the real potential of 5G. I'm Angela Lamont, your host for Ericsson's 5G Talks, and today we're going to zoom in on one particularly exciting aspect of 5G, something the experts at Ericsson have calculated could be a $200 billion opportunity for telcos. I'm talking, of course, about 5G network slicing. So, the idea is simple. Instead of every application or use case using 5G bandwidth in the same way, the network can be sliced up and tailored to meet the individual needs of your customers. And it's an idea so powerful it could transform not just our industry, but the way countless other industries do business too. And to find out exactly how, today I'm joined by Hans Hammer, Ericsson's head of radio networks in Europe and Latin America, who you might remember from episode 1, and Philip Brimblecombe, head of strategic programs for Europe and Latin America. And as well as hearing from our expert here at Ericsson, we also have some exciting and exclusive content to share with you from our partners around the globe. You'll hear from Singtel, Singapore's largest mobile operator, about how they're using 5G and network slicing today. Telefonica, one of the global telecom leaders, explaining the new revenue streams they're exploring with partners. And Google will be covering a range of topics, including how tailored connectivity drives better experiences for all. But just before we really get into the detail of the exciting possibilities of network slicing, let's set the scene for today's episode.
5G will enable new business models and growth opportunities for enterprises. But what role will network slicing play? And how can communication service providers deliver on the needs of different industries? First, let's discuss the options that are currently available. Until now, businesses have largely relied on one shared public network. Public networks are convenient and have wide-ranging coverage, but sharing them with other users can cause latency and bandwidth issues, leading to poor performance. Standalone private networks, on the other hand, don't have these connectivity issues, but they do require higher investment and additional resources to maintain and run. This is where network slicing comes in. It combines the coverage and convenience of a public network with the performance and security of a standalone private network to deliver superior levels of flexibility and speed. It also simplifies the service delivery process, shortening the time to market and time to customer as a result. Slicing is ideal for enterprises that don't want to invest in a standalone private network but need the functionality it provides, or have a standalone private network and need to add wide area coverage. Even basic slicing capabilities can enable a huge number of advanced use cases. So how does the market factor into all of this? 90% of the addressable market is made up of just 6 industries, which are forecast to grow by up to 46% by 2030. So there is enormous potential here. This is also a great opportunity for service providers. It allows them to define their roles in the network slicing space. By moving beyond traditional segments, more revenue can be captured. However, commercial and technical capabilities both need to be enhanced for enterprises to take advantage of network slicing benefits. Crucially, network slicing can be introduced in various ways. Service providers can stay ahead of the curve by adopting new ways of packaging and pricing sliced-based services that benefit both them and their customers. Initially, service providers can begin their network slicing journey with basic slice configurations for selected business opportunities. From there, automation can be increased, allowing tailored enterprise offerings to be designed and delivered at scale with far greater flexibility and efficiency. The era of network slicing is just beginning, and now is the time to take that first step towards realizing its true value.
So now we have an understanding of the landscape. Let's get into the detail with Hans and Philip. So guys, why do you think 5G presents such an opportunity for telcos?
I think businesses, all sorts of businesses have different pain points. It could be anything from transport logistics to people getting access to the services they need. And I think all these things can be mitigated or addressed with 5G, standalone and network slicing. So today, everything is, all the traffic and usage is going through the same pipe. And it has to compete about the spectrum. If you have a YouTube video, if you have a picture of a cat versus a very important critical teleconference call. And that cannot be sustained in the 4G or even the non-standalone 5G world. So here lies a big opportunity with 5G standalone for telcos.
Yeah, I would say we see a real variety of interest around 5G and what it can do. As Hans said, the network previously has been one single resource, whereas now it's much more flexible. You're able to play with many more parameters around latency, around upload and download bandwidth to start to really cater for some of the nuances of the different use cases that the industries that are interested in 5G are starting to look at. So I think it's really a platform for innovation. It's really able to serve all kinds of different use cases across all kinds of different industries and really digitalize those industries, addressing their pain points and opening up all kinds of opportunities for those industries moving forward.
Now you say opening up all kinds of opportunities. It sounds like those are very exciting opportunities, but is this about now or is this about the future?
Very much here and now, and you'll hear throughout today, I'm sure, echoed by some of our partners, that it's very much a here and now thing. You're seeing a lot of that echoed in activities that are happening out there in the field today. Slicing as a concept has been around for a while. It's been possible to differentiate services even in 4G, but 5G brings a much more powerful network, and really only now have we got a resource that's worth slicing. So very much here and now, we're seeing lots of interest and lots of exploration.
So far then, what's stopping businesses taking advantage of network slicing right now? Where do we have to get to?
Yes, I think traditionally telcos have been selling like mobile broadband, best effort internet service for 10 years. And this is a step change. This is as big of a change as when we went from voice to data with feature phones to smartphones 10 years ago. This is maybe even bigger. It's the first step of 5G with non-standalone is more or less the same as 4G, but with standalone, that's where the change will happen. And I think it doesn't only change how to build the network, it's also changes how to sell the service. And that takes a little bit time to get grasp the full opportunity and start to change that. So we'll definitely see some good examples today, and I think that will inspire a lot of our listeners to explore similar type of opportunities.
I'm sure it will. Thank you. So network slicing presents a big opportunity, but how are telcos already taking advantage in practice? Here's the story of Singapore's largest mobile operator, Singtel. Singtel's been one of the earliest adopters of 5G network slicing technology, and today in Singapore, network slicing is already happening. So to find out more, I'm joined by Yo Lian, Singtel's Managing Director of Networks. Yo, thanks for joining us today. Can you start by telling us, where do you see the main opportunities to use 5G SA beyond classic MBB use cases across consumer and enterprise? And what are you doing to explore these opportunities?
The full capability of 5G SA goes beyond faster data rate offered in enhanced mobile broadband use cases to new capabilities such as ultra-low latency, massive machine-type communications, network slicing, and edge services. Companies are riding the digital transformation wave to automate their business processes and operations, We are working with many enterprises across different verticals, healthcare, manufacturing, transport, etc., to explore how such new 5G SA capabilities will meet the evolving needs in areas such as remote healthcare, teleoperations, smart factories, VR, remote field assistance, etc. To further support this initiative and to help Singapore recover from the challenges induced by the pandemic, Singtel expedited its effort and surpasses 90% nationwide 5G coverage by end July 2022, 3 years ahead of the target set by the regulators. The National Day Parade was powered by Singtel's standalone 5G, enabling thousands of spectators at the Marina Bay floating platform to seamlessly stream high-definition video live from the event on August 9th. Nationwide standalone 5G coverage is a major leap in technology that will spur unprecedented digitalization. By reaching this milestone, enterprises can exploit the full capabilities and best applications that 5G can offer, paving the way for exciting new innovations and growth.
Now, earlier Hans and Philip told us a little bit about why they think network slicing is a big opportunity for telcos. But what do you think? How do you see this end-to-end network slicing playing a role in being able to efficiently and effectively address what are likely to be different and sometimes competing needs of these use cases?
Network slicing enables easy allocation of resources to meet the differing needs of use cases. The slices can be designed and configured for different attributes such as download speed, upload speed, quality of service priority, latency. Depending on the required attribute, a network will apportion end-to-end resources across the radio and core networks accordingly in real time. For our consumers, end-to-end slicing offers premium data access on demand, supporting use cases like mobile gaming or high-traffic hotspots like concerts, stadiums, etc. Working closely with enterprises, we know that many struggle with navigating the complexities of managing the various networks, edge cloud, applications, and services with the required cybersecurity, resiliency, and demanding service assurance required cost-effectively. That's why we developed Paragon, the industry's first all-in-one orchestration platform for 5G edge computing and cloud services, which significantly reduces the complexity and time needed to adopt 5G MAC and low latency applications and services. Network slicing, which usually requires weeks to acquire and set up, can be done almost instantly, autonomously, and as many times as needed. Enterprises can also optimize costs by utilizing a network slice only when there's a need and for the intended duration.
And finally, where is Singtel on the journey of exploring network slicing, both in terms of technology and process, as well as business model changes, to be able to utilize that newfound agility to quickly address the needs of these use cases and customers?
Singtel has always taken a customer-centric approach, focusing on identifying and satisfying our customers' needs. Using our service orchestration platform, Paragon, we plan, test, and roll out the dynamic network slicing according to the required dimensions, parameters of the business use cases. Such a co-creation engagement model allows us to prototype fast, fail fast, and learn fast. Paragon was also designed to empower enterprise to interact with the 5G network and deploy edge computing applications and services on Singtel's infrastructure independently, securely, and within minutes. This shortened their innovation curve and improved time to market as well as reduce costs. Enterprises can also access a wide range of solutions from our partners to deliver their 5G use cases.
Yo Lian, thank you very much. So it was great to hear what Singtel are doing with network slicing. Hans, Philip, what did you make of that?
And what I really enjoy is hearing about how they're automating already around the services they're offering. They have customer experience right at the heart of what they're doing in everything they do. And they built a tool set around that already to start to be able to be really agile in how they launch new services and then really effective in how they automate the management of those services. So tooling really coming across in his message there.
I think it's interesting to see that Singtel already from very early beginning saw that standalone is the opportunity to monetize 5G. So they, from the beginning, focused to build a very good standalone network with TDD mid-band and also the FDD bands on 5G. So now it's like that's the focus, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what kind of services that are going to take off in this network.
We'll keep an eye on it. So it isn't just Singapore, of course, though, that's ahead of the curve. Telcos all around the world are also launching network slicing products, such as Telefonica in Spain. So let's find out more about their take on network slicing. I'm joined by Angela Lamont, Head of Core and Service Platforms at Telefonica. Thanks for joining us.
No problem.
So can you start by telling us about your latest technology achievements in network slicing? I mean, what makes it so unique on the road to use case and business model innovation?
Well, I think the big achievement we have done is really to put together end-to-end ecosystem. We have been collaborating with Ericsson and partners like Android, Google, in order to build a full-fledged network slicing capability center, including network access, core network, full-fledged automation for network slicing. And really, I think that's end-to-end capability, demonstrating what you can achieve with all this full technology configuration has been really the achievement. We have gone, I think, beyond expectation, really. I mean, the level of maturity of the technology is really good. We have been able to integrate all these pieces together and evaluate the opportunities together with our commercial teams around what would be the different products we can offer for network slicing, and also build our roadmap and priorities. Actually, one of the big differentiation, I think, with this technology compared to other telco-based services like VoLTE is the pace of development and availability of the devices. We are not expecting to have so much devices available in order to start looking at commercial product.
It'd be good to get your view on use case and ecosystem partners too. What was the challenge they were facing, and how did network slicing improve value creation?
I think network slicing, more than trying to solve pain points and solve issues of the customer, is really to create new values, being able to be innovative in the way to commercialize our connectivity. We have done basically a lot of study with our commercial teams on the opportunities. They have been quite focused in defining what would be the successful use cases. And I think the major focus they have now is working on private networks. We believe that slicing can be a good solution in order to enhance private networks products in the ways that not all customers can afford deploying equipment on premises. So slicing is a good way to attack this kind of segment, and also could be also a way to extend private network coverage in temporary sites like roadworks, etc. So that's one big segment, let's say. The other one is entertainment. Immersive entertainment requires a lot of capacity, dedicated instances from the network, and we believe that this is also a good segment to apply network slicing. So we have done basically we have tested these use cases with real configuration on equipment. So we have been partnering with ASTI and Ford in order to test private network capabilities. And then for immersive entertainment, we have been partnering with Yerba Buena to test 360 videos. So we have seen that thanks to network slicing, we are able to offer the great quality, dedicated connectivity. And yeah, I think that's some of the two key use cases we are going to prioritize in our roadmap. And also, thanks to this testing, we are going to prioritize network slicing availability in our network going forward.
And finally, can you share with us some insights and valuable results of this project to help different parties in the ecosystem create innovative commercial services enabled by network slicing?
I think we have seen two phases in the project. The first one has been to demonstrate the readiness and maturity, what we can do right now. And then the other phase of the project is really to think what we can do to enhance still network slicing. So in terms of announcement, we have defined in B2C ways to upsell network slicing. So we believe that it's key to upsell to our end user. When they identify the need to access a network slice, we need to be able to commercialize it quickly. And we have been collaborating with Android and Ericsson in order to build such mechanism based on entertainment server enhancement. We have defined protocol extensions for that, and we are going to bring this technology to the industry, collaborating in the GSMA. And then the other big announcement I believe we need to keep on collaborating on are the exposure of network slicing capability. I think we need it for two things. The first thing is to be able to plug the orchestration of network slicing to our tool set that will allow our customer to manage the life cycle of their slice. So we need to have tools for our customer to have an operational view of the slice, being able to manage it. And the second thing about exposure is maybe why not offering network slicing in marketplaces? You know, have developers to build new services very dynamically. So yeah, network as a service capability based on network slicing, and keep on being able to have the monetization tools around it, I think is the next steps we would like to keep on exploring with our partners, and we are looking forward to it.
Alexandre, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it was great to hear what Telefonica are doing with network slicing right now. Hans, Philip, what are your key takeouts from that?
Well, I think 5G really is a platform for innovation, and one of the challenges that many telcos face is knowing where to start really, which industry partners to go and speak to, how to build those relationships, how to start this kind of journey of co-innovation. And so what I really like from this is this approach of developing a real ecosystem of partners that can all bring value, all bring their perspectives, and marry up really a business problem and an opportunity with the technology to solve that problem. It's a very common approach, I would say, but very good to hear from a front runner.
Yeah, I think it's they explore really a lot of different use cases. So I think that will really pave the way for at least a few of those to be successful. I think what is also important now as the next step, I mean, we work together with Telefonica, of course, to bring it from the lab out to the field in the real network, because that is really where we need to deliver this in the end. So that we'll be looking forward for that next step.
So now it's time to get a little bit technical. How can telcos actually pull off network slicing? And how exactly does it work? Hans, Philip, what are some of the ways you can use network slicing to meet customers' needs?
Yeah, I can start then maybe from a radio network point of view, because that's like where the slicing comes into play, managing the spectrum and the different carriers that you have. So here we use a technology called radio resource partitioning. So we can slice the different carriers, different spectrum, and slot in different types of services and usage into these different slices. In this way, you can then isolate the very important video conference call, for example, from the YouTube or the cat picture, so that they are not competing with each other. If you try to do that with the 4G network, then you have to treat and dimension the network as if every single usage, every single traffic is the most demanding. And that becomes unsustainable when the traffic increasing and new types of advanced services come into the network.
It's very similar on the core network side, that there's this agility, this using things like cloud computing and edge compute. You can scale the network. You can move workloads around the network to the most suitable place to deliver on the needs of the use case. And then you complement that with tooling around to be able to order slices, orchestrate those slices automatically into the network, importantly assure those slices so that the slice end-to-end performs against the KPIs and expectations of the customers, and also then be able to monetize those slices.
And talking about KPIs and SLAs, I think in the radio network we have been used to KPIs now for mobile broadband, best effort internet, and it's like one KPI is very downlink oriented because it's a lot of downlink traffic. Moving into slicing and radio resource partitioning, with maybe you have an economy slice, you have a premium slice for video conference calls, you have a real-time slice for gaming. all these different slices will have different KPIs. And not only different KPIs between them, but also different for uplink and downlink. So it will be a different like KPI dashboard that the CTO need to keep track of in the future.
Yeah, and that implies some additional investment in the tooling, but I think also in people and process. It's really important to make sure that the telcos are reflecting on and accounting for the fact that their organizations are going to change. They're going to need to invest in their sales staff to be able to go and sell to these industries and have the flexibility both through from sales all the way through to operations to be able to understand the needs of these industries and these new consumer use cases and be able to manage the network to deliver against those needs.
Thank you. Now, of course, one company that knows a thing or two about the importance of good connectivity is Google. Stella Lowe, who's a product manager at Google, has been working hard over the last couple of years, partnering with telcos around the world to learn how we can all work together to make network slicing a success. And our very own Hans caught up with Stella recently, and here's what they had to say.
Hello, Stella. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me today. So first, maybe I let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, Hans. Thank you for having me. My name is Stella, and I am a senior product manager here at Google, and I lead all things 5G related for Android.
So you recently launched Android 13. Could you give us a bit of a highlights on the content of the Android 13 and especially related to network slicing?
Absolutely. So in Android 12, we launched basic support for enterprise slicing for our carrier partners. And in Android 13, we wanted to take that enterprise support and make it more robust and more fully featured. And so in Android 13, we added support for 5 simultaneous enterprise slices so that carriers would have more options to sell to their enterprise clients with regards to improved quality of service or traffic separation for business applications. We also, along with that, added additional support for enterprise clients to be able to assign specific applications to specific slices, okay, as well as to determine the fallback behavior of each business application they have running over a slice. In addition, we also added support for carriers to be able to offer their enterprise clients a level of business continuity across their 5G standalone and non-standalone networks.
So Google is really active in this area, so and maybe even leading. So why is that important for you?
So at Google, we want to support our carrier partners in their 5G slicing aspirations through the monetization of the heavy investments that they have made in the build out of their 5G standalone networks. And we want to be able to do so in accordance with Google's principles around 5G slicing as well.
Very interesting. So how do you see or how do you expect the first commercial implementation of slicing happening?
That's hard to say, Hans. It really depends on the go-to-market strategies of our carrier partners. I think there's a level of sort of testing consumer appetite for consumer slicing, performance boost plans, if you will, to gauge consumer demand for a product like this before really going, widely with this type of performance boost offering.
Okay, I see. So with talking about carrier partners, how do you engage with your carrier partners and which parts of your partners are you engaging with?
Yes, we've been engaging with top carrier partners globally for the past 2.5 years on network slicing. That includes obviously our top carrier partners here in the United States, but also top carrier partners in the EMEA region as well as APAC.
So you started off with the enterprise, and now you're moving into consumer. And why are you moving in that direction?
So we believe that enterprise slicing is just one half of the same coin. The other side of that coin is consumer slicing. We know that our carrier partners really want to be able to fully monetize the value and the investments that they have made in their 5G standalone networks. And so in Android 13, we added support for 2 new consumer category constants to help unblock carriers that are willing to lab test consumer slicing.
Very good, thank you, Stella. The last question I have then is a little bit about the future. So can you tell us something about what's coming next? I mean, you have just launched Android 13. So what is coming later on?
Well, with Android 13, right, and the robust enterprise slicing features and capabilities that we've added, we really hope to see carriers really start going to market with enterprise slicing. Right? We want to see them engaged with their enterprise clients and really helping to prove out the value proposition behind enterprise slicing. On the consumer front, we expect to see intrepid carriers start testing the waters of consumer appetite with these type of performance boost plans. And we hope to be able to support our carriers' ambitions with regards to consumer slicing, but in a way that is also aligned with Google's privacy principles and neutrality principles around slicing.
Thank you very much, Stella. And so again, thank you for taking the time to catch up with us. And I hope you have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, Hans and Stella. Some great stuff in there. It's good to see how Google's working hard on bringing the advantages of network slicing to Android users. So, Hans, on reflection, what are the key takeouts from that conversation you had?
Yeah, I think it's encouraging to see that is like now we are getting ready for network slicing end to end. The operating system of the smartphone being a very important part, and it's already the second version, Android 13, with network slicing support. So this is really enabling telcos to start to monetize 5G, selling several subscriptions per device, what we call multi-pay, and those subscriptions can have then different performance levels for different types of usage. So I think it's, I mean, we have been working now with Android for some time, and it's really now coming together, and it's here and now. There is no need to wait anymore.
So what's clear from our discussion is that network slicing is here today, and it's time for telcos to get involved. So finally, I'd like to focus a little more on the business case for network slicing. Now, earlier we mentioned that Ericsson's calculated the value of 5G network slicing to be around $200 billion. And that represents a huge opportunity for telcos to work with their customers to transform the way they work. So tell me a bit more about that. How can telcos actually monetize this technology?
Yeah, I mean, that number is a very impressive number, and it came from a piece of work we did with Arthur D. Little last year, where we studied 70 different industries, 400 different digital use cases that those industries might be interested in looking at, a real variety of use cases, as you might imagine, across lots of different sectors. And what we concluded is that there's 6 sectors really that we expect a lot of the investment in 5G, or a lot of the investment potential around 5G to come from. And the use cases across those different industries as well have a certain amount of similarity. And so what we're doing now is working with telcos to really work out how to address those industries, which use cases to build, which capabilities to start to build into their networks to go and address this space.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities, but what are Ericsson doing to support the telcos as they do this?
Yeah, so if I take it then from the radio network point of view again, so our investments in R&D in the radio area, we are really doubling down to support the 5G deployments. So we are already on our 5th generation of our massive MIMO radios that delivers that massive capacity on the TDD midband. We also very recently launched a new low-band 5G product that combines 3 sectors and 3 carriers, 3 different frequency bands in one box. And that reduces the power consumption with 40% compared to previous generations. And that is really helping our customers to build the 5G networks in a sustainable way.
I would say similarly on the core side, lots of investment going into the portfolio in both the core network and the tooling around the core network to enable that end-to-end journey from ordering, orchestration, assurance and monetization. Ericsson as a whole, we're big into standardization, so we're working with all the standardization bodies to ensure that whatever we do here is really open, really multi-vendor capable, accepting that no customer is going to invest all of their or put all of their network investment into one vendor. So a lot of investment or a lot of focus going into standardization. And yeah, just as well as the product portfolio, a lot of focus also on our services business, trying to make sure that we're supporting customers who are a bit lost in really where to start. So consulting services to go in and really build that 5G monetization strategy and sequence investments from there.
So lots of opportunities, and at last they are finally happening, which is very exciting indeed. But now I'm afraid we've reached the end of the programme. Now I know many of you watching will have plenty more questions about 5G, network slicing and much more besides. But good news, the gurus at Ericsson are here to answer your every burning question. So ask away now using the chat window, and we'll keep this area open for 30 minutes after the end of the show. Please keep your questions coming. I'd like to thank our guests today, Hans, Philip, Jo, Alexandre, Stella, and of course you, our viewers. I hope we've given you plenty to consider and it's helped you slice through the 5G opportunities that lie ahead. Until next time.